Live now. Hey, good morning, everybody.
Hey guys.
Thank you guys for joining us this morning. As you guys already saw by the thumbnail, have the pleasure of having Kyle from Outside in Aquatics, and oh look, he came prepared, and we, as you guys know, uh, there is no format to this other than us having a conversation, getting to know each other, and just sharing that with you guys. But I want to say thank you to everybody that was here this morning. Let me see who were the first ones in here this morning. Looks like the very first one in here was Skitty Nona. Sarah, thank you so much for being here with us today. Amisa, she dropped in, said, good morning, just dropping in, heading out to work. Um, and we'll make it back at the end of the day. All right, well, thank you, Amisa, for dropping in. You want to be, do you have access to the comments or not?
Yeah, I was just looking at that, and I'm like terrified to touch things right now because.
Yeah, I know. That's all right. We'll bring you back up if for some reason you push the wrong buttons. It'll happen. It happens to all of us.
But I think
Corey Dorable, Kelly, thank you for being here this morning. What was that, Kyle?
When I go to chat, nothing shows. Oh wait, no, it's in the comments. In the comments.
Yeah, you gotta go to comments, and I think it'll say you join comments or something like that.
Yeah, no, I can see them definitely. Yeah, join the chat for sure. Connect.
I think you muted your camera.
Oh yeah, I'm 1 second.
Oh, okay, that's all right. Let me DJ Guppy Fish Sal. Thank you for being in here this morning.
Sweet.
Hey, Laro. Laro's one of my hobbyists here in Yuma. Thank you for dropping in and showing support. Mal, Aquarium Delirium, thank you so much for being here, man. Well, it seems like that's everybody for right now, as they'll start trickling in. I know it's kind of a weird time because it's like midweek. And for most people are kind of working at this time of the day or going into work. Hey, Gordon. I guess that's one of the upsides of not having a set schedule is it seems like you work swing shifts, and it just happened to match our schedules right now. So, a lot of the views that we get usually will be on the replay, just because of the inconsistent time slots that I handle. But it allows me to have guests like you and other people that are even people that are another side of the world, because I can sync with their schedule and still be able to go live. So, hey, Muppet, thank you for being here.
I know the replays keep me alive at work, man.
Yeah, that's all I do when I'm at work. It's either that or it gets a little frustrating when I'm at work and there's no live streams, and it's like, I like that interaction though. The back and forth, the banter that happens in the chats. But all right, enough of the pleasantries. Kyle, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll get started with that.
Well, for sure. So hey, I'm Kyle, Outside in Aquatics. Basically, I guess I'll start with like where I got my my motivation to just kind of just make things real. I don't know. That's kind of like, one day I was literally just sitting at the front desk of my job, and I'd been messing with the fish tanks. I saw like Aquarium Co-op, and I saw like a few of the bigger channels. My personal like favorite channel is LRB Aquatics. First YouTuber that I really started like watching, and I became obsessed with plants. I mean, like plants just blew my mind. So I was sitting at my front desk, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a YouTube channel. I'm gonna make some content about the fish tanks I got, and thought about the name Outside in Aquatics, kind of like a play on like Inside Out, but I want to bring the outside into your home, and I think that's kind of like what we like doing, right? We like to see nature, get a little bit of beauty inside, especially for some of the people that like live in the cities or places that don't have a lot of like a nature around them. I work out in Chicago, so I see a lot of that need. We have like a park that's right out in there, that's becoming like overrun by construction, and it's one of the like just amazing natural sights of America. I mean, like this park is like I mean, trees that are just huge, just amazing, and it's just getting destroyed. And people have that yearning for nature and that connection, especially in the city. They don't get that. So I think fish tanks can bring that to people. They bring the outside into your home, you know?
Well, and I think that's at least us that keep planet aquariums is kind of, well, even no, I think anybody that's keeping aquariums for that matter is trying to bring a little bit of that outside inside your home, and you know, because sometimes depending on like where you live, nature's not really accessible in the winter so much, you know.
No.
Everything gets snowed in, and you know it makes it a little bit more difficult. So yeah, I think there's a lot to it. And that's kind of one of the reasons why most of us will keep aquariums is because we want to be reminded of what's outside, but with the benefit of having it indoors.
Yeah, no, seasonality is actually an interesting subject because, like, the YouTubers that I watch, I just kind of got lucky because I mean, LRB's he actually was Indiana and he actually went to the local swaps that I go to currently, but he doesn't go there anymore because he moved to Florida. And then Aquarium Co-op is in like from another place. It's like seasonal. And I just kind of like was raised, I guess, in that mindset. But I mean, not everyone has the seasonality that I have. So I just kind of like assumed that, you know, but yeah, I mean, like you don't have the seasonality that I have. You guys just have
No, we just have hotter and hot.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like right now it's fall and the garage is sitting at 77 with the garage door open. It might be like 75 outside, you know, but yeah, our winters are what we call a winter. Lows are 38 degrees, like at maybe 4 or 5 in the morning, just right before the sun starts coming up. But it's only for a couple of hours, you know, and then once the sun's out, it'll get up until, you know, the mid 50s. So that's kind of what our winters are like. So for everybody else in the rest of the country, that's like, what are you talking about? That's like fall and spring weather.
Yeah, negative 50s in Chicago.
Or in Minnesota, you know,
yeah,
they get into the negatives.
yeah, crazy, man, crazy. But yeah, before this, my job right now, I'm just a janitor. But before this, I had actually was a general manager at a roller rink, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to roller rinks. It's kind of like not the most popular thing. More of like another like subculture, and that's something that is really cool to see. Is like this is a subculture. You have like all these like kind of niche groups of people all over the world, and so when I worked at that roller rink, the friend that I was working with, he actually ended up buying it and taking it over, and seeing that kind of makes you like realize that if you guys have like stuff you want to do, you got to like just make it real. Like you just got to be able to kind of like snap into that reality if you have these like things, and that's kind of like how this whole thing started happening. It was just like one day I'm like, you know, I got a fish tank, and then I had seen how I got my first plant was this guy on OfferUp. If you guys ever sell on OfferUp or maybe buy stuff on OfferUp, this guy was just he was propagating plants and selling them, and I saw a couple of the things up there, so I bought some Rotala, and then he had these things just blue guppies. They were just labeled blue guppies, and I'm like, oh cool, you know, let's get some blue guppies, and that was just fry, so I got to see the baby fry. Bought those, and oh yeah, Laryl roller rinks, man. I'm fun stuff.
Gordon says that he went to one in Atlanta. So he says they're making a
Oh,
comeback.
yeah. Atlanta's got a real skate culture, man. And I can't do it anymore because I kind of messed up my ankle really bad. So I like once you realize that like injuries can really affect your life. Like you're when you're an adult, you know, you break your ankle, you're not going to work, you know.
Yeah.
But dude, I could do the splits on skates. I could do spins. Man. So much fun. But can't really touch that stuff. I like this stuff. I don't break ankles doing this.
So how long have you been in the hobby? I mean, have you?
So this stint personally, I have been on about a 2-year stint. going here.
Okay.
I've taken care of like tortoises, bearded dragons, and stuff in the
Okay.
past when I was a kid. My mom kind of always pushed that stuff. Like we never not had like an animal around. Usually tortoises because they're one of the easier things to take care of. But yeah. This round I'm just going on 2 years, man. But I am obsessed. The thing that I think separates me from a lot of people, because I've met some people in the hobby that they don't seem to really make like progress in their knowledge of
Mm.
things. I have been, I mean, just like every day, just learning, just like just obsessive over plants, over substrates, over just trying to get as much knowledge as possible. And I think that thirst kind of is what's pushed me a little forward.
Yeah, but also, if I heard correctly, you're pretty involved with your local fish clubs, right?
Yeah, dude, I go to all the swaps. I just joined recently, so I'm gonna try to go to the memberships, like the meetings and everything. I got around some of the like really amazing people around here.
Ah, that's what I
There's
was going to get at.
but I got involved with these guys, Toucan Tropicals. It was the first place I ever went to. They breed like angelfish, and guys, I mean, I I don't know. I haven't reached out to them. I don't know if they would ever be on like a YouTube video or anything, because they're a father son duo. And I went to the father's house. That was the first place first fish room I ever went to buy fish. And his house is his fish room.
Kind of Lucas Brett's, huh?
Yeah, like I walked into his living room and he had, I mean, just huge tanks just everywhere. And I was just like, at first it seemed a little crazy, I'm like, I don't know about this, but now I'm like, I can see it. but those guys, it made it easy for me to kind of reach out, and I would message them asking questions, and then I'd see him at the swaps, and I met another guy, John Hornig. He's like a local plant guru, and he's got like all the like the cooler kind of plants. Like I got my Pogostemma Health Rye from him, and then he's got like African water fern and like all this like just different kind of more interesting plants. And I've been talking to him, and I get information from those guys. It's just I think that's like the key, is really like the networking aspect of it, kind of reaching out to people.
And that's what I was going to tell you. It's amazing how much knowledge you find in these clubs, because a lot of these people are more focused on what they're doing. That they that and
Oh, hey guys, can you hear me? Did you guys freeze or did I freeze? Hey guys, to be honest, I thought I was gonna be the one to freeze. I got AT&T, and my internet is horrible. It does that to me like all the time. Um, I guess I'm the star of the show for a little bit here. Let's see if I can see the chat. Oh my god, I'm gonna mess this stuff up. Let's see. Rico Jorge is getting ready to bust a move. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll just keep talking about myself. I can do that a lot. My favorite thing about this stuff was I always wanted to be able to create a product and sell it. I guess I'm kind of like a born entrepreneur, and I never found something that I was really I guess like good enough to do. I tried different things. I mean, I do home renovations too. So I mean, I've done like bathroom renovations, basement renovations. So I have the knowledge and the abilities to do like the plumbing systems and different things. I'm not afraid to attack like the DIY side of my fish tanks and everything. Like this little light rack right here is one of my custom inventions. I don't know if I've actually seen anyone else do that, so I'll probably do a video on that soon. Super basic stuff, but I always wanted to make a product, and I found out that I can grow certain plants like really, really well. And I started bringing them in my local Facebook groups. Started bringing them to my local Facebook groups and selling them in at different like meets and everything. And it ended up working out really well.
I don't know. I lost the internet here at the house for a second. I don't know if the company's working on the service or something. I had to check my email to see if we got a notification, but it seems like it's back up and running now. Sorry about that. Thanks for keeping the show going.
Yeah, I tried to keep her going. I could talk about myself a lot, so I mean,
talk about having technical difficulties this morning. I'm sorry, I didn't catch. Okay, so I know that you said you started getting involved with some of the local clubs and stuff like that. What I know you were keeping reptiles and stuff like that as a kid, and what I know you had kind of briefly touched on this. How is it that all of a sudden wanting to put content on YouTube happens?
Okay, so
yeah.
So basically, I guess like the fish keeping stunt for this time, this started. My girlfriend wanted to get a betta. All right, it all started with betta, and I think that's a story for a lot of people. So I think she was watching like videos on like TikTok or something, and she's like, I'm gonna get a betta fish. And as soon as I heard that, like I already know this, like not even having been in like fish keeping for a long time, like hadn't really done, I've never done it to this extent. This is the first time I've gotten to this amount of fish tanks and everything. But everyone knows that stigma of like, okay, you're gonna put a betta in like a freaking cup this big and they're gonna swim around, you're gonna put like a bamboo stick and it's gonna be like, I don't know, not the best thing. And I'm like, all right, if you want to get a betta, I'm gonna do some research. I'll figure out how to give this thing the best life, because I didn't know. Once I got on YouTube, I started watching all these things, and like I said, I found Aquarium Co-op, set her up with one, and then I got jealous, so I had to get a betta too. got one fish tank, and then I started reading or seeing the videos of like the Breeding for Profit series, and I'm like, okay, well, that means that someone's probably selling baby fish around me, because I'm not the first person to see these videos. And so I went on OfferUp and I just searched like aquarium stuff, found this dude, Justin, who he still sells on OfferUp and everything. And so I reached out to him, went out, picked up fish, started planting it. Plants didn't look too good, and then they died back, and then they started just growing like crazy. And once I saw that, I was like, oh, I have like extra plants. And so once I had made my first sale, basically after watching the guppies grow, and then I made my first generation, had too many. So then once I had made my first guppy and plant sale, that was when I was like, okay, well, there's a lot of people that do this and don't like I was saying earlier, like make it real. Like I just like kind of was like, okay, I'm gonna do this now. And I like from seeing the roller rink thing that happened, I saw my buddy just kind of like make that real. It was just like, okay, I can do this. And so started getting a couple more fish tanks. And the way I kind of build my room out is, try to fund each fish tank. So I don't want to just buy one. I want to try to make sales enough to buy my next tank. So I do a lot of plant selling, and then a lot of like fish breeding and stuff. So, I mean, I have a couple lines of fish. I do CPDs and I do Opistos now, but I kind of built up to that through steps and keeping myself kind of on a strict budget. I spent a lot of money at first to get it to this level. But once I started doing that, I was like, okay, well, I have content and enough fish tanks to just kind of rotate around instead of just like, I felt weird because I I'm not exactly the most like confident person right off the bat, and that might not seem realistic since I'm like putting content on YouTube or whatever. But I'm more of like I'm definitely like a reclusive person. I like tend to stay to myself and everything. So it took a while for me to really have the confidence to put one out. But I put a short out about my Pistococcotoides, and I think it was right before they spawned, and it got almost like 1,000 views. And I was like, wait, what? What? I'm a guy that's posted on Facebook and gotten like, 1 or 2 likes, and stuff like that. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, I like attention, I'll be honest. And so I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm in. Like, let's do this stuff. And then that was it. And I just realized that I could kind of make like a rotation of a little bit of content, and then talk about just the things that I like to talk about. I gotta stay in the chat a little bit too. It's hard because I can't see the.
Yeah, no, it's gonna on the phone. It makes it a little bit more challenging because everything gets compacted. But yeah, no, yeah, it's what Rico's saying there. That's pretty much true. I think there's got to be it all starts with an idea of keeping one, and then it's two, and then it's three, and then it's this. And but would you say then that are you more into the plants, or are you more, what exactly are you trying to accomplish with your fish room? What direction are you going?
So the thing is I'm capped at a size right now. Like what you
Mm-hmm.
see right here, I have like a little mini pond, and then I have 2 more fish tanks. But I live in an apartment, so I can't really expand past this point. So if I run it in a way that I was to just focus on the fish breeding aspect, I would probably put myself in a position to where I'd be putting so much money out of pocket into it, because I have to keep so many fish going. So I'm kind of like, I wanted to like do so many different species, and then I have to keep myself like, all right, and you can only handle so many things because you only have so many tanks. And if you get, 5 species and you have 14 tanks, like maybe you can manage that, but is it really going to be at the best levels? No, probably not. So, I mean, I could do like guppies and 1 tank and not get the most out of them, but I can get like a decent amount of babies. And then, so right now I'm mainly focusing on the plants. And I think that honestly gives me probably some of the most joy too, because I couldn't grow plants to save my life before. I have one like kind of air plant that grows, and that's like my pride and joy. But I mean, I couldn't get pothos to grow. I couldn't get any terrestrial plant to grow. And so I guess that's also part of this journey too, is I was kind of leaning into weakness, like I couldn't grow plants, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. And I got them to grow, man. Like, did the research. I researched fertilizers, root tabs, whatever kind of soil I could do. Now I'm starting to lean more towards like the naturalistic, building like an ecosystem with like fish poop and just stuff like that. But in the beginning, that was how to get a tank started for me.
I guess Rico wants to know if you're a glutton for punishment.
To be honest, man, I'm not into sports like that's actually, I think that's kind of why I've become so like obsessive over this. Is dude, if you ask me what, like, I don't know, I guess there's 2 aspects of this. If you ask me like what I did in my free time, 2 years ago, I would have told you I went to Walmart to shop. I mean, like I had no hobbies, nothing really going on. And if you asked me like who I was, I identified with my job. And I think that kind of resonates with a lot of people. A lot of people, you're stuck at a job that maybe doesn't necessarily let you fire. Doesn't really like give you that motivation to wake up in the morning, kind of thing. I turned this into that. This is who I am. When people ask me who I am now, I'm an aquarist. I'm a YouTuber. I'm a creator. I'm a fish breeder. I'm an aquatic plant farmer, and that's who I am now. And that like I actually tear up thinking about it, because it's like, I don't know, it's giving me a higher purpose than just waking up and going to work.
Yeah, no. I guess the thing is, for me, um, I just what I've really enjoyed about all this process is that, for one, I've come to realize I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one that's crazy because, you know, the people that immediately encompass me, my friends here locally, none of them are into the hobby like I am. They don't even have a single fish tank. So it wasn't until I started coming here to this community that now I feel like, okay, I'm not that bad. You know, I'm not that that obsessive, because I've seen some other people that are really a little bit more into it than I am.
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah, so it gives me a sense of I'm balanced, you know, kind of that false sense that, yeah, I'm okay. But what I was going to also say with the plants, one of the things, I don't know about you, but that I found very interesting is, yeah, you start off with trying to do the aquatic plants and all that stuff, but I am gradually finding myself gravitating also to keeping like houseplants, which is something that I never thought I was going to do before. And I have a friend of mine, Steve from Warrior Planet Tanks, that we always having conversations. And one of the things that I started telling him that I've kind of noticed now because of my own personal awareness is that I start seeing like several of these hobbies kind of merging. Like if you go to like any of the other platforms or these, you have these niches. You know, you have the people that are all into the plants, and then you have us that are all into aquatics life, and then you have the group that's all into reptiles and herps and all that stuff. But what I'm seeing now is there's starting to be like an overlap. I see people that have reptiles will keep aquariums, and I see people that keep plants and keep aquariums. I see people that keep aquariums and keep all, you know, it's all gradually all kind of, which makes perfect sense because at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is create an ecosystem. So it all kind of started to become uh, one. And I'm saying that because this next year there's a big event that's going to happen in the LA area where they're bringing all these hobbies together, kind of like an aquashella, but they're bringing in plants, they're bringing in aviary, you know, all the bird stuff, they're bringing in reptiles and fish, and it's, even though it's one big event, it's still kind of separated in four different sections, but it's this massive event, and it's the first year they're going to put it together. Which, when I saw that, I thought, man, this is genius because now it's not just me thinking this. I'm actually thinking I'm not the only one that's kind of seeing this, and so it'll be real interesting to see what the future of the hobby is. What direction are we all of a sudden going to start? You know, not only keeping aquariums, but we're going to be doing a little bit of everything.
Well,
But
it's funny you said that because the first swap I'm going to be selling it is November 24th, and it's like a fin. It's, oh my god, I can't remember the fins, feathers, and something.
uh-huh.
They're doing like, I mean, the same thing. It's not going to be. I mean, it's not like he's a local guy that is building up his like his own swap kind of thing. But you're definitely seeing something there, man, because that's like a trend for sure.
Yeah, because I started noticing it like on TikTok. You know, a lot of the people that were into plants, and it's, I'm telling you, bettas are the gateway. They're the gateway fish of the hobby because, you know, they'll have all these house plants, and then they put a little bowl in front of the plants with a betta, and that's how it gets them started. And then before you know it, they're saying, oh, you can grow these plants inside the water, and you know, it just kind of goes that direction. And for me, it's been the other way around. I go, oh, you can grow these out of the water, and that's kind of, you know, you stumble across these channels where all of a sudden, not only the inside of the aquarium's planted, but they have this whole like riparian area on the outside, and I'm going, God, that's what I want. And
Yeah.
so you know, and then once you go into a riparianarium, they start building these paludariums, and they start keeping these reptiles, frogs, and you know, all this other stuff there. And you're going, oh yeah, that's cool too. So that's why I was thinking, man, am I the only one that's noticing this, or is this something that's is it just in my mind, or is it something that's really happening? But it seems like it's something that is really happening because, like I said, I don't know if you're familiar with Sam Scales, but he was the one that told me, hey, this June in Pomona, they're putting this big event and it's encompassing all these hobbies. And I was like, so there maybe is something to this. I'm not crazy. I'm not that crazy. I am crazy, but not that crazy. that figured that out.
I think it probably expands the market too for the people that have come to the show, right? So then they can kind of get like more ticket sales, and it makes it more worth it for people. And then, I mean, if you're into fish, more than likely you'll at least like looking at like the birds or the lizards or anything else that's there or whatever, right?
Well, yeah, and it all goes back to the fact that the reason all these hobbies are the one commonality is that we want to keep a little bit of nature.
Yeah.
So, and if nature is your thing, then it's real easy to understand why there's a little bit of fast. I can't help it now that since I really started getting into the hobby to go to Home Depot or Lowe's and not go through the garden area and look to see what's there that I could to go, okay, maybe I can convert this either into an aquatic plant or I can have it where it's sitting up on the top of the aquarium and it's just natural. I mean, the only thing I don't really see myself is probably keeping uh, from the reptile side, snakes. I have a thing for snakes, but that's not to say I wouldn't keep certain frogs or maybe some insects, something else. But it's still, kind of like in that general lizards. They remind me too much of snakes, so I probably wouldn't do lizards either. But and birds. How can you not have nature and not have birds too? So it's just it's I can see all of this just becoming eventually, which is smart because it, like you said, it does expand the consumer base for the hobby because now you have people that were in one niche of it, kind of making that migration over to the other niches, and it all I think at the end of the day benefits everybody because then you start seeing access to different things that you didn't know you could have access to. So I hope it's a good thing, and then our community grows too because you get that crossover.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you look at like a YouTube channel like Serpa Design,
Mm-hmm.
and those the builds, like you see one of those and you just can't help but like, oh my god. And then you try to build one, it's like not that not that easy. Or at
Well,
least I mean, I've tried them and I'm just like, how
yeah,
does he look the way he does? He's so good. I mean, obviously he's done so many of them, but like it's just like, come on, man, you make it look so easy.
and I guess the trend is kind of going there because I just happened to see some videos from Aquashella this year, and they had this huge enclosure. It was like the size of a small room, and they had some lizards in there. They had set it up like basically they dissected a piece of the jungle and encased it in this I don't know what size it was, either 8x8 or 10x10 area, and they made it this entire little ecosystem. So again,
That's
this is taking all these elements and kind of incorporating them all to become one. So um, we'll see. I think a lot of these events are going to start looking a little bit different down the road. It's just not going to be because right now, if you want to, it seems like all the reptile shows are a little bit separate from everything else, and then you have the plant shows and all that. I can easily see all these industries just becoming one super mega shows, and it'll be cool. I mean, it gives you a whole different experience, but we'll see. It'll be. I want to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I do. I mean, if Aquashella had like, because when I went to Chicago Aquashella, I think we were talking about that before the
Uh
show,
huh.
right? Yeah. So when I went to Aquashella, I mean that show was mind blowing. I mean, but I feel like there was some empty space. Like they probably could have filled it a little bit more. And if they would have done that, then maybe they would have came back because they would have had more booths and they would have made more money themselves. I don't know exactly the situation why they didn't show up from for this year because Chicago didn't make the cut, I guess. But super sad. I was really hoping to go to that, but but like maybe they would be able to do the show this year if they had split that with another like a whole group of people and brought all those people in. And I definitely wouldn't have been upset, man. I would have loved to see some like real high end lizards or whatever they're gonna have there. Just cool colored stuff, man, because you don't get to see that all the like the local stores. And then
Yeah.
also, Getty, if that comments for me, thank you very much. That means a lot. That's something
Oh
I've been
yeah. that's what then I got so sidetracked. I was going to mention that. That's one of the reasons why your channel caught my attention, and I was going to ask you about that. Do you have any background in filming and editing, or is that something that you've kind of tinkered with outside of this hobby before, or is it just something that you discovered that you have a little bit of talent for?
Wow, that means a lot that you just said that. I cannot believe that was, oh my God. Well, no, I do everything from my phone. That is just something I have a lot of fun with. The first video I put together was like a how to brine shrimp video, which I kind of want to, I would like love to unlist because it's a little rough compared to the other ones, but I just love to show the progress. But no, that means a lot. I have absolutely no background. I watch a channel called vidIQ. They kind of promote like small YouTubers, teach you how to do the thing. I've gotten some pointers and stuff from there, and then my girlfriend is into like the TikTok kind of thing and like that kind of stuff. So she kind of schooled me on some of like the camera transition stuff a little bit. And once she showed me that, then I was able to really kind of put that into like the the uh the mix, I guess, and actually use some of the camera trickery and make the video production a little better. And the only reason I have a fish room, I had originally had all my tanks set up differently, and the glare was killing me all the time. I couldn't get a good shot to save my life, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make my life easier because it makes water changing and all that stuff easier. And dude, I got like a little nice, cool, chill spot now. I love it. Love it.
Yeah, no, that was one of the, and you know what I've noticed is especially the newer channels that are coming in, like Maul, Aquarium Delirium. That's one of the things that I've always loved about his videos. Not only are you sharing what you're doing with your fish rooms, but there's that extra layer on top where it becomes very entertaining. And it looks like you guys really you guys are putting some real thought behind uh, what you're going to do. You know, the process of filming it so that it comes off uh, like it's a little scripted kind of thing. And you know, it's they're a lot better than any videos that I've ever done. Mine is just point and shoot and talk. That's about it. But from your channel and Aquarium Delirium, one of the things that the other one is the Nano Aquarium guy. Your guys' skills when it comes to filming is kind of like, okay, you know, there's something there. That's kind of what draws you to want to watch those videos, not only because of the information you're providing, but it's just that they're captivating, and it's so neat that you guys have been able to do that. And I really enjoy that. That's cool to have you guys in here because then I'll have something to keep me entertained. So, but that's one of the things that I really enjoy about channels like yours and Jay's and Mal's. It's just the production. Well, yeah, at the end of the day, it is production because you're putting some thought. You're making sure your lighting's in the right angle so you don't get the glare out. You look at my videos and you see me half the time in the glare. So, but that's one of the things that I really enjoy about those videos, and you know, on top of the information you're providing. But yeah, it's that putting that little bit of extra effort to make sure you get the right angle, playing with the different angles. That's one of the things that I always tell Mel is like it's all amazing, all these different. I go, how the hell did he think about putting the camera like down here so he gets enough shot? It's nothing that I would have ever thought about doing, but you know, it's just I really like seeing our hobby kind of grow in that direction and actually becoming better editing. Yeah, I'm with Rico. I'm a one take Jake. Mistakes and all is what you get. I don't edit. The only editing that I do is if I feel it's too long, I'll chop it up and shorten it, or I speed it up. Those are my edits. I'll edit. I'll put a thumbnail and I'll add music to the sections. That's as much edit. I hate editing. I can't. I hate editing. That's the only reason I don't upload more videos is because I hate editing, and to the point where the reason I like Instagram a lot is because I can take a 30-second clip and boom, it's done. I don't have to edit anything. I don't have to say anything. If I don't want to, I just show off my fish and they're gone. Now, YouTube is kind of caught up to that with the shorts, but the shorts have become a little bit, I guess, allowing you to do like a quick or like a little teaser. It's really what they were trying to do for your videos. But I'm horrible when it comes to that. I'm to the point where I'd rather do a live stream because I don't have to do any editing whatsoever. No thought ahead. Just sit up here and be a talking head, and get to know some people. And that's, unfortunately, that's where I kind of defaulted. But you know, that's why I'm glad you guys are here.
Well, my trick for editing, because like I said, I do everything on my phone. I mean, literally, I don't touch a computer, do everything from my phone. If you guys are ever looking to do stuff, an easy app is CapCut. You guys have probably heard of it. My girlfriend schooled me on this, and that app changed my life. Because I mean, I'm dead serious. I used to edit all my shorts in Shorts. So like I would do, like you could change like the words to come up with, like you know what I mean, like with like the bar or whatever, and I would do all my timing through there. I'd be listening, oh my god, and then like I would accidentally close the app, or I would lose like internet connection, lose my whole short. It wouldn't save, and at first I didn't even know that there was drafts. So like I probably had a bunch of them saved in drafts and didn't even realize it. Oh my god. But yeah, CapCut, and I edit my personality in. I decided, now there are definitely mistakes that I don't leave in, but like for the most part, just like leave it in and lean into weakness. That I've like made so much progress doing that. I can't recommend it enough for people. Lean into weakness. All these plants are here because I leaned into weakness. I mean, I thank you guys so much. I guess I have good edited videos, and I did that because I leaned into weakness. I never had touched. If you ask anybody in my life, I am like technology not savvy. Like technology hates me. Like I probably shouldn't even touch my phone because the internet will just go out or whatever. Like I'm like cursed with technology. So I guess.
So prior to you doing your videos and stuff like that, and because you come off as being very relaxed and easy in front of the camera, have you had some speaking engagements prior to this where it kind of prepared you for this, or?
So I like I said, and this is perfect that you just asked that question. Leaning into weakness. If I went to junior college, right, and I had a couple classes where I had to do like 15-minute presentations. I dropped them because I was too afraid to do public speaking. When I got in that roller rink job, I before we took over, I was a birthday server. So, you know, I'd put on a birthday cake hat and we'd do like these birthday parties, but I would pull so much cash tips, man. Like it was just unreal because I guess I got a personality people like, I don't know. But so I would do these parties and I'd have to control large groups of people, and it forced me to just get over that public speaking. And then I had to do like these radio announcements and all this stuff. And man, I'm telling you, shortly after that, it was over. I could talk to 1,000 people. I could do public speaking in any arena. Wouldn't faze me. Yeah, I didn't really actually put all that together, but I guess that is kind of part of this. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I guess that goes a long ways too for when you're watching the videos. It's just that comfort that you project, that you're very comfortable being in front of the camera. Um, and it's something that, you know, for most of us, it takes work to be able to get to that point. But, you know, like I said, you haven't really been on here that long. And I've watched some of your earlier stuff, and it was just like, all right, this guy, where they plucked him out of? Because he's just like, he's been doing this forever. But you know, and it goes to show, that's one of the reasons why I've seen your growth take off, is because of that. And then, you know, and I'm just excited to see what direction it continues to go in. And you know, it's fun to watch.
The confidence that I have is definitely attributed to the community. I mean, like everybody here, no one has made me scared to post a video. because that I know, like, I mean, if there's something negative, someone will hopefully comment it and tell me like, hey man, you should do this, or I had this idea. But I mean, everyone's so supportive. It's like, I mean, how can you fail when you got all these great people around you that are just like, hey man, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, you once in a while you'll get, it's just I hear a lot of people have issues with that. I guess I'm not big enough yet to get a lot of trolls. I'm like you. I most of my interactions, all the comments, I would say 99% of them have all been very positive, very uplifting. Um, but I'm still waiting for that one guy or one person that'll come in and just try to be a real douchebag. But I
Yeah,
haven't.
I haven't had any like consistent trolls, like anybody that like follows my posts or anything like that. That'll be interesting if I encounter that. But I've definitely had some like comments that are like, are you trying to do something here? And those I usually just I'm creative in the way I handle things. I usually just play dumb. I mean, to be honest, I'll just be like, oh, okay, like this, or just I don't know.
Yeah, I
Let it
kind
roll.
of have fun. I kind of have fun with them for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't bother me. I don't care what.
No,
At the end of the day, I really don't care what their opinion is.
dude,
Um,
oh man, I'll take
you
it.
know, it's whatever. I know what I'm doing and it's working, and I'm not having an issue. And just some people just like to. It's a kick for them. So once you figure those things out, uh, it's just it's easy. But I know some people for some reason do take them too hard. And it's kind of like really just they don't have anything else better to do. As a
Yeah,
matter of fact, uh, I kind of equate the amount of haters you have to the success you have, because the more haters you have, the more success you have. That's why they're hating on you. But so I don't know. I just I for the most part, like I said, I would say 99% of everybody in this hobby is like you described. They're great people. They're happy to share what they know with you, uh, and they're excited to see what you're doing. And that has been my experience during the course that I've been doing this. So, and it's kind of one of the reasons why I like watching everybody that I watch. It's one of the things that I enjoy.
yeah, dude, we got friends all over the country, all over the country, all over the world. People that we get to check in on, see their fish rooms, talk, hear their lives. I don't know. It's something, man.
Well, and that's what's so great about a lot of these events is that it gives you that opportunity to extend that connection that you have with somebody. That you it starts off with an exchange of chats or an email or phone call, and then it goes to where you meet up at an event, and it becomes a little bit more personal in that aspect, because now you have that face-to-face connection. Now you know the person, you physically see them, and it's kind of like, oh man, and what I love about it is those are the easiest interactions to have, because every time that I've met somebody in person that I've kind of met through this medium, it's like if I already knew them. There isn't that awkward let's get to know each other kind of thing. It's just like, hey, what's up, and it's like I've known you my entire life, and that's what I love about what doing this in the community, and having those opportunities. And I'm not the only one that's in that boat from what I've learned. It's just it seems that the commonality of us being in the hobby, and just interacting with each other, that it's just like you know old school friends or something like that.
Yeah. No, it is. Yeah. Well, we all come from that foundation of like we know what people are about, what everyone's about. Usually, I mean, like I don't know. I guess it just this hobby just doesn't attract the kind of person that's like a negative kind of person. You kind of have to care. Like it's like
Yeah,
this. Like there's an inherent type of person that this attracts, and I think that just makes it a good. Ooh man, I'm gonna kick my tripod over. Um, but it just an inherent type of person that it attracts, and I think it gives us better odds to meet the better people.
yeah, yeah. And the longer you're part of the community, the more you start finding out about events that they are. And he's referring to the Keystone class. Yeah, he put it on there. those events are like super cool because it's not only a nerd event where you get to go learn about fish and stuff like that. There's a different dynamic. It's you know the big aquashellas, the big super shows are great uh, because you get to meet some of the vendors. Uh, you get to see what's coming out. What any innovations in the hobby. That's what those shows are for. Um, there is some presence from some people in the community because at the end of the day, everybody's a hobbyist that's there. Uh, but they're so big that sometimes you don't have that opportunity to make those direct connections. You start going to some of these um, these club sponsored events, and it changes the dynamic because it's a little bit smaller, um, and you really get to have more of that personal interaction. It's like, for example, you talked about going to the one in Chicago and getting to meet Corey. That interaction would have been very different had he have gone and guest speak at your local club, because now you're not having to divide your time with that person with 1,000 people, where it's all of a sudden maybe 200 people. So you get to have that conversation a little bit longer. You get to be able to capture their attention for a little bit longer than you would at an event like that. Because an event like that is kind of like, hi, hey, here you go, it's signed picture, let's go. Who's the next one? So that's what's kind of neat about these events, that what Rico's talking about, these smaller club events, and so I say smaller now in parentheses because every year they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's kind of cool. It just kind of caters more towards us, I think, um, our community, because it's more hobbyist oriented instead of corporate driven.
Yeah, no, I would imagine like a one of those would be more of like a local swap community. Like, and you said that they're actually ran by so the Keystone Clash is actually ran by that club.
There's a
Or
couple of clubs. I think there's and I'm not. Rico could probably rectify this if I'm mistaken, but I think it's like two or three different clubs from the area that come together, and they cooperate because it makes it more cost effective. Instead of each club trying to do an individual show, they all come together. And I know Bentley has been doing a series after the Clash where he really addresses this. That he wishes that more clubs, more the smaller clubs, would follow this type of event, because at the end of the day, it saves them money. It actually generates a little bit more money for the club because they can pull all their resources together, and it just makes for more entertaining. Because I know, like, for example, for me, I'm right in the middle of where I have to go. I either have to drive to San Diego, which is about 3 hours away, or I have to drive to Phoenix, which is another 3 hours away, because I'm right in dab in the middle of those two areas. And like, for example, in Phoenix, hey Jesse, in Phoenix there's three main different three clubs. There's the Southwest Aquatic Society. There's the Killifish, which is Arizona Revlin Club or something like that, and then there's I always forget the third club's name. But anyways, and each one will have events and stuff like that. But this last year, and I think it was like the third or fourth year, where they finally decided to do kind of what the Keystone Clash has done, and they've done one event, and they call it Sake, which is the Southwest Aquarium Keepers event. That's what the acronym stands for, and it's cool because at these shows now you're finding different clubs that kind of specialize in certain fish. For example, they had a lot of live bearers and killifish and cichlids um, that come from all these different clubs, and they all kind of come together, and you have this weekend event, and that'll be nice to see that. And as a hobbyist, it gives you that opportunity to be able to see what's out there all in one place. So, you know, I think it's basically. Oh, here you go. This is what it is. It's the Cichlid Club of York and the Aquarium Club of Lancaster County. So there's the two main clubs, and you know, and they were able to put this together. They have a bunch of volunteers that help out, and I think it's out of Morgantown, Pennsylvania. Yeah, and they've been doing it. They've been doing it for a while, but the way the event has been structured, I think it's been the last 3 years, uh, where there's been more and more involvement, especially from the YouTube community.
So
And
Flash is in Pennsylvania?
yeah,
Dude, I don't know why I thought it was in a different state. I literally thought it was in Florida. I don't know why I
no,
thought that.
it's up. It's Pennsylvania, Morgantown.
Oh, all right, for sure.
It's not that far. It's a lot closer to you than it is for me.
Yeah, that's what I literally was just realizing. I'm like, wow, I think that's actually closer than I thought it was, huh? So maybe I'll try to make it out there one of those.
You should try to make it out there next year.
Yeah, no, that would be fun, dude. Because I've heard so many good things. Everyone said exactly like what you said. It's like really good for like the social aspect of it, more of like a homey feel versus like one of those more corporate shows. Exactly.
Well, and I think a lot of it is because it's there's I'm not going to get into it, but there's been some changes, and all of a sudden this is the place that really found an acceptance, especially for the smaller content creators on YouTube, and that's really what it's like. Yeah, I guess like I was going to mention that. I don't know if you know who Whip's World is. He's out there in the Chicago area. Yeah, he drives up to the event, so
dude,
maybe you guys can link up and carpool.
Yeah. That's another one of the guys that I had. He was at one of like because the main swaps that I go to are the green water swaps, and because that's the aquarium club that I joined, and I had actually been talking to that guy, and like a couple times in passing, and then one day I saw he's got a Facebook page I think I followed, and I saw a picture of him, and I was like, what the heck? I actually know this dude. I've seen him in all the chats and everything, but never really put the two together. I guess this is funny.
There's a good group of you guys there in the Chicago area that actually put content out. I know Victoria Lee's there. John, what's John's channel name? God, I'm gonna hate.
Oh, you talking about Prime Time?
No, not Prime Time. Well, yeah, that's another one that's there. What is it? Well, okay, I'm not gonna. Now that I'm trying to remember, I'm not gonna remember. But there's like 4 or 5 that I know of that post stuff on YouTube. But there's got to be more. There's a lot more.
Yeah, no,
it's a bigger city, so.
Prime Time. There's Sydney.
Oh, my fish tank aquatics. That's the John that I was talking about.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm gonna have to look that up. My fish tank aquatics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that one up then, because if they're local, I like to know all the people that are local and everything. But I remember we were talking about White Cloud Mountain minnows, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got them to breed yet? To spawn?
No, I was just gonna. You said you seen like one fry?
That was one fry a while back. Maybe now that the temperature's dropped a little bit, maybe. But again, I don't have them set up per se in a breeding setup. They're in a planted aquarium, and I put a spawning mop in there in case they drop eggs. But I don't know if maybe because I have shrimp and I have snails, they're getting to the eggs. I don't know. I'm not really trying too hard, because if I was really trying too hard, I would set up a breeding tank for them specifically. But
well, see, I'm thinking about this, and I actually set up because I have a setup that I use for my Danios. It's just like a dollar store mesh box in a 5-gallon, and they just drop eggs like all the time, and then they just hatch it out in there. I don't have to do anything with it. The other tank that I have, I set up one for the White Cloud Mountain minnows, and it's been set up for a while, and I am not seeing anything come out of it. And so I'm wondering if there's like a hatching issue because of the hard water. But from what I thought though, is they come from like harder water, but they come from because it's a mountain stream, right? Like where like the White Cloud Mountain.
Yeah, but I haven't, to be honest, I haven't really looked into it. The only reason I haven't set up like this, because I watched Rachel O'Leary, and she would put them outside in a pond, and every year she'd come back with a bunch of fries. So I said, I'm going to throw them up in that one. Not necessarily that I'm wanting to breed them, because then once you get them to breed, what do you do with the fry? In my case, I'm kind of isolated. There's not, you
Yeah.
know, there's not. I'd have to make a commitment to drive either 3 hours one direction or the other to go offload them, uh, which could be a nice excuse for a weekend getaway. But yeah, like I said, I'm in no hurry to try to break the code on that. It's just be cool if I could get them to naturally do it without me. I'm okay. All right. All those words really mean I'm too lazy to breed them.
Hey, I really think that I think you gotta change the outlook on lazy fish keeping, man. If you're not like neglecting anything, I don't think it's lazy. I think it's like the shortest path to good health for your fish. How about that?
I'll go with that. That sounds good. That sounds better than being lazy. Yeah, and it's just I really when I started, it wasn't really about breeding. I think I think it's just a evolution as hobbyists that we kind of go through. Because for me, really, it was about keeping fish. Just keeping aquariums. I like to tinker with setting them up, putting plants, making them look nice. That's a big part of what I enjoy about keeping these aquariums. But after a while, you start getting that bug and go, what if I can get these to breed? And then that's why I was saying this last Saturday. I'm kind of at a crossroads now where do I want to go away from having the beautiful tanks and focus more on breeding because that's an entirely different setup. If you want to breed fish, you do have to set up your aquarium a little bit different because if you're trying to breed fish in a fully planted tank, that's not the problem. The problem is trying to be able to get the fry out to move them. So, and then you're tearing everything up, and it just So that's kind of where I was at with it. But recently, a friend reached out, and I guess he's having to move, and it's like a last minute thing, and he's giving me his fish room, and but he kept the bigger fish, so he's got a 300-gallon, a 120, several 40s. My biggest aquarium is this one right behind me, and it's a 4-footer. It's 150-gallon, but it's not the 6-foot profile. It's 48 by 24 by 30.
Deep.
Yeah, it's deep, which works out for me because my wife loves angelfish, and that's her aquarium. So it was like the perfect setup for that. It's a pain in the butt though because it's so high up. I can't reach down. If I make close up of that aquarium, you'll see like halfway down the acrylic is clean, and the other side I can't reach down. So that's why it's dirty. I just can't get down to it. So I was in the process of reorganizing all this because my wife wants me to move this to the other side of the wall because she hates coming out of into the garage and running right into this side because it's like sitting right in the middle of the garage. So she goes, clear out all that stuff, move this over there. So what I was going to do, I was going to move that to a bottom section so that I could reach actually the bottom. I could stand up and be able to reach in and keep it clean. But now that I'm getting those other aquariums, I don't know what I'm going to do. I got to really revamp this whole idea. What I'm keeping for the most part is not changing. It's just the amount of water that I'm going to be able to keep them in that's changing.
For sure.
And then I got to go move those tomorrow, which is going to be real interesting because now I got to declutter the garage because I'm not going to set them up immediately. So I got to make room to be able to put these tanks in there, and then figure out if I have if they're coming with stands or just the aquariums. I haven't really done any of that yet. Oof. I was going to go to. I was fun today. I'm off today and tomorrow, and the days that we coincide both being available in the morning is tomorrow. So that's why I'm in the process today. After I get off of this, I need to find volunteers to help me move these monster tanks, and then I need to figure out where I'm going to put them. And then after that, I'm going to have to start doing some building for racks or whatever. I don't know yet. I got to go rent a little U-Haul. I never thought I was going to have to do that to be able to move tanks, but I might have to go get that.
Dude, how many bags of sand do you need for a 300?
Oh, that's not a problem for me. I live in the desert.
Oh, yeah.
I live in the desert. As a matter of fact, I got videos where I show people how I go collect all the hardscape, and I'm talking about all the driftwood, all the rocks, all the substrate is literally from out here in the desert. We have these areas when we get a lot of rainfall, all that water runs down what we call washes. It's basically like a dry creek. It's a waterway, but we don't. It's the desert. You don't have water year round, but it runs through there. And every time we have a big storm, it brings with it all the debris that's in the desert, all the branches and everything else that's snapped out from the carrizos and stuff like that, and it washes it down this place. So you have this infinite amount of resources, which is, well, not infinite because nothing is infinite, but in the sense of the hobby,
Yeah.
I have all. Granted, you have to put some work in, but it's okay. It's free. So what I'll do is usually I'll take 4 or 5 gallon buckets, fill them up. I don't worry about sorting anything out at that point. I just want to put material in the buckets. I come home and I got a series of different sifters that I'll run, and it'll remove all the larger rocks and stuff like that, and then I go finer and finer to whatever it is that I'm trying to accomplish. And I can go with like super fine sand if I wanted to, but I learned that doesn't work very well for plants because it compacts the roots, and they end up dying out, rotting out. But I found the right mixture where it's not necessarily, it's a little bit smaller than pea gravel, but it's not fine sand either, and that has worked really good for me. So that's kind of what I usually try to work it into, and then I've tinkered around. I started out this aquarium right here is a dirted tank. That was my very first venture into a dirted tank, and it's got 2 inches of soil, and this easily has about almost 6 inches cap. So it's a 55 gallon, but it's taking up a good 8 inches of the bottom. It's just substrate and sand that I've put years over years. And but it's growing plants. The only problem is when I did that the very first time, I did the 2 inches and a 3 inch cap, and I had algae problems. And everybody was saying, "Oh, with dirty tanks, that's the thing that you have to deal with." Well, I don't like dealing with algae, so I started messing around with it. And every time I've set up a new aquarium, what I would do is I still want to use soil because I'm too cheap to go buy, that active soil.
Root
Yeah,
tab.
yeah, I'm thrifty. I am super thrifty. Well, no, I'm cheap. No,
Hey,
thrifty's not.
gonna
And
be.
so what I started doing was mixing or cutting cutting the dirt with the inert substance, whether it was gravel, whatever. And it's kind of to the now where my substrates that I use is part kitty litter, part potting soil, and part sand and gravel. And I'll mix all that stuff together so that I get my active substrate, and then I don't have to go very heavily with the amount that I use. These are all ideas that I've taken from all the content creators. I'm
Yeah.
stealing from MD Fish Tanks. I'm stealing from Father Fish. It's all been trial and error, and I've taken what I've seen that worked for them and kind of adapted it to mine. So now that I have my own substrate that I've kind of created, and that's what I use, and I don't have a problem with algae anymore. I mean, I still get the growth. It's not. I have to admit, it's not the growth that I get out of that aquarium, but it's a little bit slower. But I don't have the algae issue, so I'm
Yeah.
happy with that. I'm not in a hurry. I have. Well, I don't have a lot of time left, but I have time.
But yeah, no. So the kitty litter, does that work as kind of like carbon in a way? Like it soaks up some of the nutrients?
Well, no. What happens is, and this is very important, what he's putting in there. I use it's a clay. It's a baked clay. So the closest thing you can
Thanks,
think of
Carl.
it would be like which soil? There's a soil they fall. Not Eco Complete. It's another one. But what they've done is that clay, the way they bake it, it's will absorb whatever nutrients you put in it. So a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll take the clay, and you could take a bottle of Easy Green, pour it in there, and the clay will absorb all that nutrients, and then you have an active substrate. or you can douse it with iron, or you can. Oh, the other one that I steal from is Dr. Novak, and that's kind of where I got the idea for the kitty litter. That's where my influence for the kitty litter and the iron comes from. And I've taken all everything that they've all said, and I said, all right, and that's one of the things that people that follow me know. My I treat my fish room like a science lab in the way that I'm experimenting. None of these tanks are set up alike. Every single one of them is a little bit different. And I'm going to tell you what, everything works. It's just how quickly you want it to work. As far as filtration, I have most of your major filtration systems. They all work. It's just, are you willing to put up with the looking into your aquarium and seeing a sponge in there? Or do you want it to look manicured? That's all the filtration really is. I have setups that have no power driven filtration. It's all biological. That works too. Obviously, the capacity of filtration dictates how many fish you can put in there, because I'm not going to overstock a filterless aquarium, with, let's say, a bunch of Mbuna cichlids in there, because they just too much mass, too much of a bioload.
Yeah.
And it's not set up for that. But like I said, I tinker with all these different methods out there, and at the end of the day, everything works. It's just how patient are you? But everything works. There isn't something that somebody is preached to be the solve all problems. It doesn't work. It's just how you want to go about it. That's it.
You had mentioned Father Fish, and I was telling you before this, he actually kind of challenged me to do a dirted tank. So he subscribed when I was on his live. He was like pushing my channel and everything, and he was saying he's like I really want you to try one of these. And so I gotta think of a tank to get rid of, to do, or to restart, I guess, to do one of those.
One of my most productive plant tanks is a 10-gallon tank that I set up with the dirt.
Yeah.
And so, and it works real good. Well, depending on what kind of plants, but like I grow a lot of stem plants out of that, because you don't have to worry about your light. It's the par reaches much quicker, much easier on a 10-gallon aquarium versus a 20 or anything bigger, because it's closer to the surface. A 10-gallon is not very tall, and by the time you get done adding the dirt and the cap, well, you've taken off maybe 3 inches off of the surface area. You can get. That's why I run nothing but shop lights, and in those aquariums, my plants grow. All my stem plants, I propagate from there, and been able to plant everything you see in here out of that 10-gallon tank. The only one that I don't keep in there is Vallisneria, because it'll all grow real quick. I keep that. That's my Jungle Bell producing aquarium that I dip into, is that one right there. And that one's provided Jungle Bell for all the other tanks that I have Jungle Bell in. But if you're going to do that, I would recommend you do granite. Yep, decomposed granite. That one, Warrior Planet Tanks led me onto that, and so that's a little bit also what I put in that substrate that I do. So it's just like I said, everything will grow, man. I mean, it's just you can even grow stuff in inert stuff, but just going to take time. You got to have enough of that bio load to work its way into the soil and to provide a nutrient. And obviously, you're not going to be growing any of these high requirement plants, but your basic plants that to me, Jungle Bell is like one of my favorite plants, because it's easy to grow and it makes you look like you know what you're doing.
I got a 10-gallon over here that I want to clear it out, but I can't, because I have that swap coming up, and I'm just like, well, what am I gonna do? Like, take all this stuff and throw it out? It's like, no, I'll just leave it in there, just wait, and I'll sell it at the swap or whatever. And but yeah, no, I have Val Americana, I think it is. I don't that one I'm not too certain, because someone had just given it to me for free, just gave me a couple pieces, and they're like, oh, hey, try this. and it's kind of like duckweed, man. Like it just makes the runners, and then like it filled in a coconut hut that I have. So I had like a coconut because I put it in a tank with some crebensis, and it went under, filled it up, and then it's got like one little hole, and it just like the one little valve like just shot up, and I'm like, what's going on in there? And it just said filled in the whole the whole. So funny.
Yeah, but if you're gonna, I would recommend do it on a 10-gallon tank. I would maybe use like half an inch of soil.
Yeah, no,
and then cap it with a couple of inches of whatever substrate you want to use. Man, I'm telling you, man, you'll probably be able to make some money out of that 10-gallon tank because the plants will grow quick, and you don't need a very powerful light because, like I said, the power to reach to the bottom of those is a lot less than trying to do it per se on a 55-gallon or anything that's a little bit taller, where you're going to need a higher intensity light that can penetrate all the way down. So, you know, my when it comes to plants, the ones that I can actually trim and sell plants out of are usually my 10-gallon tanks, and you know I can keep up with the demand off of a 10-gallon. Hell,
yeah.
Even if you use these plastic totes, there's the ones that kind of go under your bed, that are pretty long. They're not very tall, and those will actually work real good too because any ambient light will grow those plants. So you can set it up, leave it on the floor, and just let the light in the room, and you know doesn't cost you any extra, and you'll be growing plants.
Yeah, see, I have my grow out. I have like a little, like I said, I have a little but it's like deep though, and I'm thinking about changing it so it goes wider and then like less deep or whatever, so I can get a better grow out. 6 inches of soil, 3 inches of sand, 2 inches of water. Emergent growth farm. Yeah. Yeah, I have actually have a buddy who he was trying to do the what is that, like the immersed growth for moss and a bunch of stuff, and he was just kept having like the mold issues with it. And I've never tried any of that. I don't know if you guys have ever tried that. Like he had like the black trays with like the clear cap, and he was trying to mist it, and then it just mold the city.
There's a guy in the Pacific Northwest that's doing that, and that's all he's doing. He started out growing plants. He even started his little online business, but that was one of the issues. And he cracked the code on the moss because he was having an issue with the algae. And is the metric? Yeah, and he was growing it all these little plastic totes that he had set up, using the little clay balls for the substrate, and been growing anubiases and ferns and all that stuff. And you know, so it can be done. But I forgot. He finally, after tinkering with so much, he fine tuned it for the amount of moisture and water and how to get it so it wouldn't get the algae wouldn't overcome the moss. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say that he blended the moss and just kind of brushed it over the surface. And but don't maybe I'm confusing his technique with somebody else. But
no, I think something like that for like making like a wall moss thing. I think I've seen someone like paint it on to like a picture almost, and then it grew off that or something like that.
There you go, for your friend. Get some springtails to handle the mold.
You know what? That actually would be a suggestion for him. That is a good idea. Because yeah, no, I've heard Serpa Design talk about that. That's why he keeps like the springtails, because they take care of like the mold and like the stuff that builds up. I gotta suggest that to him actually. Yeah, I'm gonna screenshot that. See, I have like ADD, man. I can't remember anything, so everything gets screenshotted or written down.
I wonder how many of us in this hobby have that.
Dude, that was one of my first popular shorts that I made. That was like me talking. Was literally about that. I sincerely 100% believe that this hobby attracts people with ADD.
You know, it was really bad when I was a kid. Now that I've gotten older, it's not so bad. Look, I'm even doing it now. I can't sit still, and I just got myself swinging on this chair. But it's one of those things. I'm sitting at work and I'm tapping my feet. I'm fidgeting all the time. But, uh, in here, that kind of goes away. And it's probably why a lot of us have MTS. It's probably because of some, level of that attention deficit disorder that you're trying to look at, trying to do so much. It's hard to
Yep.
just keep one thing. But I don't know. I find a lot of people having dealt with it. I've gotten older now that I've become a little bit more. I don't know if I learned how to manage it or I've found other outlets that'll burn up a lot of that excess energy and I don't know. But it used to be real bad as a kid, real bad. Not so much anymore.
Well, I think the hobby is good for people like that because it's like there's so many facets of it you could like jump around to. You're like, oh, I can like I think that hobby jumping is common in people with ADD. So like if you're someone that's like gone through, dude, this is the first hobby that's kept me longer. Like this is the only thing that's kept me this long, dude. I hobby jump. I've always been into cars. Cars are really expensive to do. Like, you want to be in the car hobby, you gotta have some money because you're gonna be sinking money in a lot.
Yeah.
But
For,
with
for me,
it's a
up until this, it was mostly sports, and I played organized baseball up until I was like 35 when I finally blew out my arm. But I was playing competitively, and then throughout high school, I played all three sports: football, basketball. I would up until my mid 20s, I was doing 3-on-3 tournaments up in the Phoenix area for basketball. So I did that for quite some while. But then, you know, ankles and knees, they take a pounding, and so I started just playing baseball because I was doing both. Basketball tournaments were every so often. It wasn't per se a league, um, but the baseball I was actually in a men's adult baseball league and played that for a long time until finally just my arm and they said, oh well, you can get surgery. It's like, why am I going to go spend all this money on a surgical procedure just to keep playing a little bit more? I said, that's it, I'm done. Because I asked the doc, do I need to have that to function? He goes, no, but if you want to continue to play, you gotta have surgery. And I said, will it heal up on its own? He goes, yeah, but it's gonna take time. I said, all right. And kind of almost coincides when I started getting back into the hobby too, because all of a sudden I had all this extra time that is like, well, now what am I gonna do? And it just kind of, I started looking on YouTube, and I was looking at cars. That's usually what I used to do on YouTube was all the garage builds, all the hot rod stuff is mostly what I saw. And for the life of me, I can't remember on the algorithm. I think one of the aquarium co-op videos popped up, and it just suckered me back in. And it was one of those things. What I've always, uh, when I talk about it, is what drew me back was not necessarily the fish, but knowing that you could keep plants in an aquarium. Because when I was doing the hobby back in the early '90s, I guess plants have always been a thing, but they weren't as accessible unless you were like a real diehard hobbyist and you were going to the clubs. I guess you had access to plants, but I don't recall going to the fish store and seeing plants for sale. I
Nope.
I saw the plastic plants, and most of the aquariums were all set up with plastic plants. So, you know, that's what I had in my first aquariums. But it wasn't until this second time around, and it bit me hard because I to me, an aquarium has to have plants. It's just I can't do it. I've tried setting up breeding aquariums like this one that's sitting right in here. It doesn't have any substrate because it was supposed to be exclusively for breeding guppies. I couldn't do it. I went and got Anubiuses and put them in there. It doesn't have substrate, but I got plants in there, and I got floating plants. So it's like, I just can't do it. I can't. I cannot have a just glass and water aquarium. I just, sorry, I can't. That's not me. But that was just kind of. that was kind of the back into this. And now, my wife gets a kick out of it because she goes, if I can't find you in the house, I know you're in the garage. And yeah, you know, unless I'm having to do some yard work outside, which out here in Arizona, there's not a whole lot. What am I going to do? Turn rocks all day? 'Cause all my landscaping is just rocks. Once in a while, that's why I don't like rain. The only reason I don't like rain is because it makes me work in the yard because we'll get the weeds grow out.
Oh,
All the weeds will be dormant during the year, but the one rainfall we get, all of a sudden I'm like, oh man, I wish I would had a tarp that I could cover up the rocks before a rainfall, kind of like you cover up a pool. So
yeah.
I wouldn't have to be pulling weeks like a week later. But it's not that we don't get that much rain, so it doesn't really matter.
Huh. Yeah, that's interesting, man. That
Yeah, they're saying spray them green so it looks like I have a lawn. Yeah, I'm sure my housing association would really appreciate that. The only house with green rocks.
yeah, HOAs. I'm sure they would love that.
Yep. Well, Kyle, is there anything else you want to share with us?
Uh, no, actually, I'm definitely got to start getting ready to go here. But this has been a lovely time. I've had a lot of fun, guys. Thankful for meeting you, man. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. It's my pleasure. Actually, the reason that I'm doing all of this is because of this guy right here, Rico. Rico Stan. He's for a lot of us in this community. He's the one that's always reached out to us and granted us a platform to be able to showcase ourselves. This is all Rico's doing. Rico, it's your fault. Uh, I've taken inspiration from what he's doing, and and sees the opportunity to be able to, pay it forward. And that's all. That's how we grow. And all of us need to have somebody that'll give us a little bit of an opportunity to shine, and that's all I'm trying to do. You, Aquatic 87, us that have a little bit more of just a little bit more of an audience, I guess, or a little bit more reach. Why not? Why aren't we going to be able to help those that are up and coming to be able to get to meet all this community that is great. So that's all this is.
Well, dude, thank you so much. And I also you mentioned Rico. I've recently just been watching his lives too. So, hey, Rico. And he also has been, like you said, he has been helping people like in his live streams or whatever. He mentioned, I think it was him that mentioned StreamYard and the thing, and I was like, oh my god, I got to look into that again because you had told me that it was on StreamYard. So then I actually downloaded it like last night and started looking into it a little bit, and so I think I actually have an account on there now. I'm not exactly certain how it works, but
so and that's,
yeah.
At the end of the day, we all benefit from our community growing. So it's just more people we get to interact with, more people we get to have fun. So, oh, thank you, June. And and plus you get to meet more wonderful people. So that's all this is. Yeah, but with that said, I don't want to take up any more of your time. Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you taking time from your busy schedule to hang out with me for an hour and a half. And also for those that want to go check out Kyle's channel, I pinned his YouTube channel to the top of the comment area. So go check him out. If you like what you see, I know I definitely did. Give him a like and follow. So
thank you. And then I just got a notification. Thomas, thank you for subbing.
Oh yeah, Tommy.
Yeah, YouTube is like horrible with the notifications, so you won't get them all the time. But like I got Thomas's, so thank you.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us this morning, and we'll catch you guys in another stream. You guys take care. Thank you so much.
Yeah.